Good morning, you've tuned into ET now and you're watching the most comprehensive market wrap, Market Fatafat. It promises to spot the hottest movers in the stock market, and over the next 30 minutes we'll take you through the top buzzers and spot where the big trends are emerging. I'm Karanya Rao, and joining me on the show are Ujjivan from Angel Broking. I also have my colleagues Pranay as well as Varun joining me on the show. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome on board. Let's start the show with stock number one, which is Eicher Motor. In fact, the entire auto pack is in focus. It's the start of the month and everybody is delivering or reporting their delivery numbers for the month of November 2019. And Eicher, well, definitely a disappointing one, because for Royal Enfield, everybody was expecting at least in the late 60,000 numbers. 69,000 was the 18-hour poll as well, and what they managed to deliver, well, definitely a little disappointing. 60,400 units for Royal Enfield, and for VECV, bang in line with expectations, but still a huge hit as far as the year-on-year numbers or even the sequential performance is concerned. VECV delivered 3,500 odd units, and that's why the stock is also moving down in trade. Eicher down 2.5% as we speak. But moving away from the auto for a bit to steel sector, Samit, you're tracking Tata Steel. Can you tell us how the charts are looking like?
See, Karuna, metal stocks has been buzzing since last couple of weeks, and Tata Steel is the one stock that has formed good base a couple of months back around 340, 350, and from there we have already seen nearly 15-20% move. So after this sharp surge, stock went into a consolidation mode, and recently we are experiencing a time-wise consolidation in this counter. But dips are likely to get bought into, and hence our strategy would be to buy and decline. From here on, any dip towards 415, 400 would make it a good risk to reward ratio. So one should use those dips to go long, and over the next few weeks we would expect the stock heading towards 445, 450.
That is Tata Steel for you. The stock is looking definitely a tad bit weak today. It's down a little over 1% as we speak. Let's talk about the big news maker of the day. It's Yes Bank. Varun, lots of developments have transpired in the last couple of days. Can you give us an update of what exactly is happening in Yes Bank?
Sure, Karanya. So, the one thing which is looming for the bank is the fundraise. Now, we first heard about it over a month ago on expiry day. Since then, there's been no clarity on exactly who, when, for how much. The timeline keeps changing. Now, in the most latest development, which happened this last weekend, the CEO and MD of the bank has come forward and said all bids are binding and that they should meet on the 10th of December to okay the capital raise, and that the money should be coming in. And that's at least what the word is. Now, there's a bit of speculation on the street, as you can tell looking at the stock price today, not responding as positively, despite the fact that Ravneet said that the deal should be done at around 78 rupees or somewhere. There was a premium to the current market price. Now, this is because the list of investors that have been mentioned for the issue aren't really the highest pedigree. Two of them have had some issues with shoring up capital in the past, and the largest bidder is from a Canadian family office who has no real history with the bank or any ties to the bank, so it seems like a bit of a random candidate to consider for the raise. So this is raising speculation in the investor community. That being said, this raise to the tune of $2 billion, if it does come in, will definitely be a huge lifeline and reprieve for the bank. So you see the stock price holding up today pretty decently. And now it all boils down to the next 10 days and whether that money comes in on the 10th or not. We'll update you as soon as we know more.
Right, that's Yes Bank for you, down a bit in trade, 2% is what it has lost at this juncture. Let's talk about Reliance Industries as well. The stock is looking very cheery. It's up a good 2.5%. Pranay, what exactly are the contours of the price hike for Jio, and how are brokerages reacting to that?
Well, the tariff hike that the company has said would be as high as 40% on some of the plans. And this is definitely higher than street expectations, which is why brokerages like Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, they have reaffirmed their overweight conviction stance on the stock. The target price has not been changed yet, but many others are in the process of revising their estimates, since this tariff hike is higher than estimates, and they believe that there'll be more over the next 12 months, you can expect more upside on this counter. One of the brokerages is giving a target of over 1700 on the counter right now, and they believe that near term the stock will remain strong.
All right, that's Reliance Industries for you. Let's talk about another stock in focus, and it's Tata Power. HSBC has come out with a note on the company. They are maintaining their hold rating. The target that they've given is 65 rupees a share. They say it's getting slow and slightly uncertain, the overall environment in the utility space. Deleveraging effort and Mundra resolution also is likely to remain slow for the company. So couple of concerns, couple of red flags being given out by HSBC. They're maintaining a hold, but they have reduced the target price by 13% to 65 rupees a share. The stock perhaps is reacting to some negative concerns, some negative comments given by HSBC as well, perhaps, to this counter. It's down a good 2.5%. Let's talk about stock number 6. It's CESC. Samit, what are the technicals looking like, and what is your rating on this stock?
See, if you see in last 3 months, this stock has done nothing. It has trapped into a range very on the higher side. 830, 840 has been acting as a supply zone, and lower side 200-day moving average placed around 740, 730 is acting as a sheet anchor. So stock is now consolidating around its multi-month support levels. So 720, 725, these are the levels to watch out for. That would be a critical support for this particular counter. And on the higher side, 765, 770 would be the short-term resistance level. So if this stock manages to sustain beyond 765 on a closing basis, we would see this stock heading probably towards 790, 800 over the next few days.
Okay, that's CESC for you. It's a little muted in trade relatively. It's up just by about 0.4%. Pranay, let's talk about Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. The IPO is also opening today. Can you give us more details about the same?
Well, yes, going into the weekend, they had done the anchor allotment of about 300 crores and raised it at the upper end of the price band of the IPO at 37 rupees, which has marquee investors like Goldman Sachs, CX Partners, Government of Singapore, amongst many others. So the IPO that is open today is definitely going to raise, money from the primary market to the tune of about maybe 1200 odd crore rupees. And given how the subscription for CSB Bank turned out, this one is also expected to be a decent one, given that it comes from a quality NBFC, and with the MD of having come from HDFC Bank, it's expected to attract good bids in these 3 days. So watch out for Ujjivan. The stock has already rallied nicely, about 10% in the last 4-5 days. Maybe you could see more upside when we have updates on the kind of subscription that it sees.
All right, moving on to another name from the financial space is RBL, another private lender that's reeling under pressure. Varun, can you give us an update as to why the stock is down in trade? They recently announced some fundraising as well.
Yeah, so they actually announced fundraising on Saturday, so not too long ago. The stock is down slightly, my guess, because the parties that are investing in the bank are doing so at a lower price to the current stock price. That's around 340 rupees. Now, if you look at that, that's because they have to, there's a rule that when you raise money, it has to be an average of the price over the last 2 weeks, or then they have a stipulated time period. So that time period has dictated this price of 340 rupees. That being said, I wouldn't pay so much attention to the stock price today. What's really important to look out for is who is investing in this bank. Unlike Yes Bank, which has an array of pretty random investors, over here you have Bajaj Finance, Eastbridge, Ishana, Ward Ferry. So a really pedigree set of investors coming in. And what I like about the fundraise in RBL is that they're only doing it so far, at least for 850 crores, which is exactly what they need at the present moment to deal with the stress that's come into the balance sheet over the last 2 quarters. Whereas, if you look at a Yes Bank, the raise has now shot up from $1 billion to $2 billion. So there doesn't seem to be much of a concern for what's going to happen to existing shareholders, because, existing shareholders in Yes will be diluted down severely at this really low price. I think the management of RBL understands that the price has taken a huge beating, and it currently sits at around still 50-60% lower than what it was at its peak, and that's why it's not right to dilute shareholders down beyond what's really required in order to service this stress. So, those are the major green flags for the RBL fundraise. That being said, because of the price being lower, you are seeing the counter under pressure today. But I definitely look forward to I feel like this will be a positive trigger for the counter going forward.
Right. Okay, well, it might be a positive trigger, but right now, definitely the street is not too enthused by it. The stock is down a good 10 rupees at this juncture. Let's talk about Suvain Life as well. Another stock that's cracking away in trade big time. They've announced top-line results of SUVN 502. This is their key molecule, which is called as SUVN 502. It's meant for treatment of Alzheimer's. It essentially has missed its pre-specified primary endpoint in proof of concept, which is also called POC phase 2 study. The management is extremely disappointed with the outcome of the trial. The CEO has given a statement as well. He says they're very disappointed with the outcome of the trial, but the findings present an important step forward in further exploration of the potential therapeutic efforts of Masupiridine, which is also known as SUVN 502, and that's the reason why, perhaps on back of the failure of the expected conclusion or the expected result of the study, is something that's pulling the stock lower massively in trade. Moving away from pharma to entertainment and media, and PVR stock is something that we're tracking in trade today. It's up about 0.5% odd. Can you tell us, Samit, how is the trajectory looking like? How is it likely to shape up going ahead?
See, Karan, if you recall, mid-September, the stock had a massive bump up for nearly 3-4 days, rallied more than 15-20% in such a short span. After this, the stock slipped into a consolidation mode, so it's been nearly 2 months now. Stock has been consolidating in a very narrow band, and in last 3-4 days we have seen some encouraging signs. Stock has managed to recover a fair bit of ground from its lower levels, and it's on the verge of a breakout now. So 1860, 1870, these are the levels to watch out for. So probably next couple of weeks we would expect a gradual move towards those important levels. So one should trade with a positive bias now. 1750, 1730 has become a very strong support for PVR.
All right, that's the word coming in on PVR. It's up 0.5% as we speak. With 10 stocks down, we have 10 more to go on the other side of the break when we come back. But before that, quickly checking out on how the Rise with India small case index is faring at this juncture, whether or not it's able to keep up with the market momentum. It's up about 0.2%. 568.07 is where it's perched at. Time for a break, but coming up soon with 10 more stocks to watch out for. Welcome back. You're still watching Market Fatafat on ET Now. We have 10 more stocks to cover very quickly. Then Pranay coming to you for M&M. The numbers, I believe, were a mixed bag, especially for the tractors. It was definitely a muted month. How are you reading into it? How is the street reacting?
Well, Karunya, the auto sales or the passenger vehicle sales were down about 9% year on year, more or less along expected lines, while the tractor sales fell about 19%. Yes, that makes for a weak set, which indicates that after the festive period, numbers which we saw in October, the numbers have gone back to the slower and weaker run rate. And analysts also indicate that near term, the run rate is going to remain on the softer side. So the stock actually, after opening lower, has recovered and come back up 1% in the green. Even if you look at some of the other auto charts, we are seeing some buying coming into these auto counters because of the correction that they have seen. But there's no doubt that they are going to remain on soft footing when it comes to the monthly sales.
Right. Okay, that's M&M for you. It's up about 0.8%. Like Pranay said, it has definitely seen a rebound from the way it opened up. Let's talk about another name from the financial space. Varun, Indiabulls Housing, it's down a good 2% today as well. Can you tell us what's happening there?
Yeah, Karanya, sure. So the court has delayed the verdict of the PIL, and the business operations as a result have been impacted to a considerable extent in Indiabulls. Now this is over and above all the trouble we're seeing in NBFC anyway. There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of problems with, clients paying up the money. So it's just a compounded effect for Indiabulls Housing of all these various factors, and this latest litigation and PIL pending does not really help the situation either.
All right, that is Indiabulls Housing. It's down 2% like I just flagged off. Future retail is also in focus. ET has reported that Mitsui is in talks for future food supply venture, and that's the reason why the stock is in focus. Additionally, of course, we've had a couple of developments happening about Amazon investment as well, which took place last week. CCI approving the investment from Amazon into the company. The stock has been quite upbeat in the last couple of days as well, and today it continues the up move. It's trading at 344 rupees, up by nearly 2%. Let's keep it with the retail space. Samit, tell us about Raymond. How is the chart looking like?
See, again, early November, this stock had a colossal rally from the levels of 600, 620, and within 2 days it was back to 800 plus levels. However, after such a sharp rally, this stock witnessed a good profit booking, probably 50-55% retracement of its 2 days move. But again, it appears that looking at last 3 days price action, the stock has resumed its uptrend, and it's now heading probably toward its recent highs of 800, 820. So one should stay with the positive bias. Now the base has shifted higher from 600, 580 now towards 680, 670.
All right, definitely the stock or the technicals of it indicating towards a positive momentum being continued. Let's move right on to another stock that's buzzing in trade, JSW Steel. Pranay, talk to us about that UBS upgrade that they've got.
Well, the upgrade now reaffirms that it's a buy from the earlier neutral stance that they had, and the target price has also been increased to 315 from the early 290. One, we are seeing a rebound in the steel prices coming in from China, so that is going to lift the overall steel prices. Second, reports have been indicating that we'll have a second domestic steel price hike in December, which could be similar to the one that was seen in November. So 500 to 1,000 rupees per ton for different steel products, rolling and flat. Third is that this brokerage points out to the lower raw material costs which we are currently seeing, which should aid the margins going forward. So if the expansion projects which are underway are completed on time, then that could be a re-rating trigger which is not being factored in by the markets right now. And on the back of all this, you're seeing that the stock is continuing to move up, outperforming its peers, and is up nearly 3% today.
All right, let's talk about some more stocks that are, looking very, very stellar today. And Bharti Airtel definitely one of them, especially from the heavyweight index. Varun, can you tell us what exactly are the updates that are keeping the stock so upbeat and so buoyant in trade?
Right, Karanya. So, there was a big price hike announced earlier in the month saying that all the telcos would be hiking their prices, right? Now, in December 1st is the effective date for these price hikes to come in. Now, all the telcos have gone in and stated their respective price hike, whatever they want to raise their prices by. Now, the bottom line is that, people may have been anticipating this, certain investors may have been waiting for the price hike news to come out before they exit. So, I'm not going to talk too much about the price action today, but if you just look at the way telcos have moved in the last month, we had the AGR announcement come out, which really hurt all of them because they had to pay huge amounts, thousands of crores, each of them had to pay as liabilities. Now, word on the street is that there will be some reprieve here, so they've rallied. Now, in additional to the good news of reprieve, they're all hiking their prices. So what this will do is your ARPUs, that's your average revenue per user, will go up, and also your EBITDA swing will start to look much larger. So I believe the EBITDA swing can be anywhere in the tune to $300 million to $600 million, maybe more depending on which service carrier you are. So just some extra room and buffer there to pay off these liabilities which have been hitting the telcos, and that's why they've been all acting pretty positively in the recent past.
All right. With that, we're completely out of time on this edition of Market Fatafat. Thank you so much, Varun, Pranay, as well as Samit for joining us on the show. Thank you for our viewers for tuning in. But stay tuned to ET Now. Markets at Noon comes up right after the break.